Hello, thank you for joining me and welcome back to Reserved Investments. So one of the questions that I often get asked is, why do I caution people from jumping on the bandwagon, getting involved in speculative markets? Well, here's a prime example. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but back on April 26, 2021, this was when we were in the wonderful COVID pandemic era. There were lockdowns, there were crazy prices being paid for a lot of high-profile antiques and collectibles at this particular point in time because the government was giving out money. If you were just an average citizen and you met the qualifications, you got a $1,200 check. If you were somebody else that maybe had a business, maybe had a higher net worth than the average individual, you potentially got a PPP loan that didn't have to be paid back. Well, with all this money sloshing around, a lot of it found itself in the antiques and collectibles trade. And back on April 26, 2021, Sotheby's sold a pair of Kayne's Yeezy sneakers for $1.8 million in a private sale. And all is what that means is we don't know who the purchaser was, but the sale was reported, so it appears to be legit. Now, this is very important because I don't know how much you guys follow the really rare and strange sneaker world. And to be fair, I want to be fair here. Sneakers are a legitimate collectible. The problem is they're very speculative. And if you're attempting to invest in them long term, there are risks you have to be aware of because they are not made out of long-lasting materials. The materials do deteriorate, they break down, they yellow, and as a result, it can really cost you a lot of money if you're trying to invest in these particular items over the long term. Well, these particular sneakers that originally sold back in 2021 for $1.8 million literally sold this month, September 2023, through Goldin Auctions for a little over $180,000. This presents a 90% loss to the original purchaser of this particular item. I am going to put a link to this in the video description below. It's just a very small article that pretty much just shows these updates as we go along as to how this developed. And pretty much it just shows you the decline that these sneakers went through from their high of $1.8 million to now their low of selling for $180,000. Be very careful in speculative markets, guys. That is one reason why I do this channel. If you want to watch an excellent video I did on this particular talking point, I did a whiteboard video explaining the three markets that make up the antiques and collectibles trade. They are speculative, established, and sophisticated and or mature. I tend to like investing long-term in items that are mature and sophisticated, and also sometimes established markets as well. Speculative markets, when we look at video games, when we look at certain vintage toys, when we look at Pokemon cards, Magic the Gathering, sneakers, certain lines of clothing brands that have came over the last several decades that are now selling for a significant sum. All those markets are very, very speculative. They are too new. A lot of people will tell you, hey, this particular item came out in the 1980s or the 1990s. Therefore, it's 30, 40 years of age. It's obviously worth investing in. Understand that when we talk about antiques, antiques by definition are more than 100 years of age or older, guys. A lot of these markets that you guys are playing in are extremely speculative. This is why I was able to predict the great video game bubble and subsequent crash so well. It doesn't matter that it's Nintendo, doesn't matter that it's Super Mario, doesn't matter in this case that it's Nike or whatever the brand may be. All these markets in the overall antiques and collectibles trade are extremely speculative. These are non-income producing assets. Regardless, I don't want to go off on a rant in this video. I am going to put a link to this particular small article in the video description below. Feel free to read it and just understand that these particular sneakers that once sold for $1.8 million now just recently sold for 1/10 of that price. Be very careful, guys. The antiques and collectibles trade right now is very, very risky due to what's happening in the overall economy, due to what's happening with the end of easy money, the end of COVID money, very high interest rates. All this is having a disastrous effect on these markets. We are not going back to 2017, 2018, 2019 anytime soon. Please understand that. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.